And you are listening to Worship Radio International, the world's #1 online Christian radio station.
Hey everyone, how are you guys doing today? I'm Haydee, and this is She's Deeply Rooted. Sorry we're a little bit late today. There were some technical difficulties, but I am so excited. I'm always excited. But I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. So today we're going to be talking about brokenness and cycles. There you go. So we're going to be touching into those two things. But before I do that, I want to do a giveaway. I'm really excited for this giveaway. I've never really done this, and I'm really looking forward to it. I follow this girl named Cheryl Marie, and she has a ministry, and it's called She Rose Detroit. She does roses. They're very beautiful. If you want to check out her roses, her ministry, she is at sherosedetroit.com. That's her website. And then she blogs. She does all kinds of things on there. She has Instagram. Her name on Instagram is Cheryl Marie. It's spelled SHERELLEMARIE. I believe there's an underscore before that. But you'll see her on there basically. And she came out with a book. It's called Removing the Weight During the Wait. Get it? So I'm giving this book away because when she first came out with it, I kept on forgetting to purchase the book. And it was, I don't know what it was, but I just kept forgetting to purchase it. And I was getting annoyed because I'm like, oh, I want to purchase the book, but I keep forgetting to purchase the book. But I finally was able to purchase the book. I finally decided to just purchase. I purchased 2. I was going to give both away, but so cute. I'm gonna see if I give both away, but for now I'm giving one away. And pretty much what she talks about in this book, it's pretty self-explanatory. Removing the weight during the wait, which pretty much means that she is going to help you understand the things that have to be removed out of your life, things that have to be extracted in order for you to get prepared for your future spouse, to basically become the woman that you are called to be. Because honestly, when you get married, a lot changes, and you have to be firm in who you are so that you may continue in that vein. But yeah, so I'm going to be giving the giveaway instructions at the end of the video, well, at the end of the broadcast, I'm sorry. And I'll tell you guys what you guys need to do in order to win the book. I still don't know the instructions, so I'm kind of waiting on the Lord to give me that. But I am excited to be giving one of these books away. It's very practical. It's like, I don't know if you can tell like how big it is, but I can't even give you the size, because I really don't know the size, but it's very practical. You can literally put it in your purse, or you can put it in the car, and it's like a really nice reminder. It's like a devotional type of thing. It's very nice. It has 5 chapters, so if you don't like to read, you have no excuses, because this is 5 chapters. You can read this in like 5 minutes, really like 20 minutes, but still, yeah. So that's what's happening in this video. We're gonna give this away. I'm gonna be giving it away. I want to give it away by next broadcast. So next week on Wednesday at 1 p.m. I will be announcing the winner for the book. But yeah, so we're just gonna wait on the Lord to give us instructions on how to win this book, because I don't know. I've never even done a giveaway, so I'm really excited for this. I'm trying to do giveaways on the show constantly, because I want to provide you guys with the resources that you guys need in order for you to stay encouraged, for you to continue growing, and for you to continue staying motivated, because I understand that this walk is not easy. I understand that sometimes you need a homie to have your back, and I completely get you. You know what I'm saying? So I really think that this will benefit you, especially if you are someone that has already started your journey, but you just need some guidance. And, you know, the Lord told you you won't have a husband. So you got to get ready. So I think that will benefit you guys. But yes, so today we're going to be talking about brokenness and cycles. And we're going to talk about what that means, what it looks like, how can we change those things, and what does it look like afterwards. There's so many exciting things coming up in the next few months for She's Deeply Rooted. And there's a lot of them that I want to share with you guys, but I currently cannot. I am not allowed to. And you know when you get antsy and you just want to share something because you're so excited? That's me right now, but I can't share it. So I'm going to calm down and get into it. So, all right, brokenness and cycles. Pretty much brokenness is who you are when you come into Christ. You're broken. You don't really have an idea of who you are. You've been through a lot of stuff in your life. You've been broken in many ways. You've been broken emotionally. You've been broken physically. You've been broken spiritually. There's just many ways that you can be broken. For example, me. I was broken by not having a relationship with my father. That is where it pretty much all went to doo-doo. The moment that my father and I stopped having a good relationship, it broke me for the rest of my life because it affected the rest of my life. It affected my relationship with men. It affected my views on men, and it affected the way that I saw marriage. It affected the way that I saw really anything. It affected friendships. It affected a lot of things. That was a root that, when that root grew, you know, when you look at roots, you see them sprouting and they go like further, and they just keep growing and they just keep going. So that's pretty much what happened with me when it came to my relationship with my father. The moment that the relationship with my father became unstable and these roots just continued to grow in instability, it just caused everything else in my life to be unstable. So I was afraid to be in a relationship with men. And so I made the decision that I was not going to be in a relationship with men. And the devil really made that even worse because even when I was in a relationship with men, like it would go super terrible. Like it would just go extremely terrible, and it would make me self-conscious, and it would make me very insecure. I felt very insecure. I was self-conscious about myself. I did not think I was all that in a bag of chips. And I still don't think I'm all that in a bag of chips, of course, but I know who I am now, so we don't got that problem anymore. But I was self-conscious about myself. I hated the way I looked. I always wanted to change something about myself. I felt like I was never good enough in anything, and I would just feel like trash, basically. And the devil would make it worse because every time a relationship failed, I would feel more self-conscious. I would feel more insecure. It just kept on piling up, and it would add to the problem. So when I made the decision that I was not going to be in a relationship with men anymore, I was just going to leave that behind and move forward. And I was just going to move forward by being with women. And even though I already had attraction for a woman, I never really went forward with it because I just I didn't feel like I could do that. But anyways, I met a girl. I ended up getting a relationship with the girl, and it lasted a really long time. But because it was a woman, it filled the voids that were there. It filled the voids of me not feeling good about myself. It filled the voids of me being self-conscious. But it was filled in such a perverse and negative way. I'm going to explain how that happened. When I met this chick, we weren't supposed to get in a intimate relationship. Our relationship was strictly supposed to be us getting to know each other, and God was going to use that for me to come into Christ. Because she believed in God. She just hadn't really fully gone into depth about her relationship with Christ. But God wanted to use that, but because the devil perversed it, we took it to another vein. But God still made it happen, and I still found Christ, regardless of what the devil tried to do. But another way that it was perverse and it was infiltrated, it filled the voids incorrectly, is because I was very cruel. I was a butthole, basically. I was very disrespectful. I was petty. I used to find reasons to start arguments. I used to break up with her every 2 seconds because I was like angry and I was fearful. And even though she was a sweetheart to me, I pretty much treated her like trash, and I fed into her insecurities. She was already insecure in itself, and she was already dealing with her own demons, and I made that worse. So I filled my voids by doing that. And filling my voids that way still made me feel empty. It still made me feel like something was missing. And it honestly was not making me a better person. So that went on for some years. And then when I came to Christ, I had to learn how to fill those voids the correct way. And the only way that those voids were going to be filled is if I accepted my relationship with Christ, if I fully received him all the way. The only way that all of my voids were going to be filled in were going to be by accepting him as Lord and Savior. The moment I accepted him as Lord and Savior, he was able to just change me, transform my mentality, transform my anger, transform all those things that I was dealing with, my insecurities, my self-consciousness. He transformed it and made me into who I am today. The ways that he transformed that was I had to deal with the root. What was the root of my problem? Why was I acting this way? Why was I acting in rebellion? Why was I acting out constantly? Why was I constantly being sarcastic? Why was I constantly being petty? Why was I constantly attacking other people when I got angry? Why was I constantly starting arguments? Why was I constantly okay with hurting other people? Why was this okay? What made this okay? When did this become an okay thing to do? And when we started dealing with the root, which was really when my relationship with my father became unstable, my foundation became unstable. Because the reason my foundation was unstable was because my father was unstable. He was dealing with things that he was also angry. He was also dealing with frustration. He was also dealing with hurt. So everything that he was dealing with was also passed on to me. And that is a cycle. The cycle that he was dealing with, the frustration, the anger, the constantly feeling like being petty and sarcastic, everything that my dad was dealing with, I was dealing with. I didn't see it that way, but the exact same things that he was dealing with, I was dealing with. And that's a cycle right there. Because it's continuing to go, it's continuing to be a movement, it's continuing to be a function in your family. And so when I realized that my foundation was unstable because my father was unstable, then it caused me to create my own foundation, and my own foundation was trash. It was a trashy foundation. It was not the correct foundation to have. And when I did not have the right foundation, again, it caused all these broken things to just continue to function broken. So now, the thing about God is that he's not just going to glue these pieces back together. He's not going to do that. Because the moment you accept him, we're starting from clean. We're starting from nothing. We're starting over. So he's not going to glue your pieces back together and just, oh, well, you know what? That looks okay. It looks about right. It's like a broken vase, like if you glue it back together, you look at it, you're like, okay, that looks okay. It looks about right. So a couple pieces in there are missing, but it'll function. He's not going to do that. He's going to be the potter. He is going to mold you, and he's going to start from the base. I've never been to a potter's class, but I want to. Anyways, so I watched videos though, and I've learned, you know what I'm saying? So when a potter starts, it starts by making the clay. When the potter starts making the clay, then it's put on the wheel, and then from there, when the wheel is going, of course, in the beginning, that junk looked like trash. It looks like trash. You look at it, you're like, that junk look bow. But the moment that the potter continues to, do its thing, mold the clay, it continues to, the wheel keeps going, but it continues to, be molded. Then the end products looks, like baddie. It looks good. So when you look at the final product, the final vase, the final thing that the potter ends up creating, it looks absolutely gorgeous. From there, the potter is able to even be more creative, because the potter can add paint to that bad boy. Once the vase is made and it dries and it sits there and it's, good. It's a foundation. It's a good vase. It's made properly. The clay is made properly. Everything is done exactly the way it's supposed to be done. Then the potter can be creative and it can start painting the item that the potter created. When the potter is able to be creative with the actual item that it created, anything can happen. At that point, the potter can draw some flowers on that bad boy, or, make a rainbow out of it. Do something really cool with it. And from there, it can put it on a shelf and let it shine and do its thing and make it the center of attention. So that's pretty much what God is going to do with you when you are about to deal with this brokenness and these cycles. We're going to start from scratch. Now, we're going to deal with the roots of your problem. What is your problem? Why are you so angry? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about why you're so angry. Let's deal with that. And when we'll deal with it, now I have to extract all those things out of you. And we have to remove all that anger. We have to remove all those frustration, all that pain, all that hurt. And then when we remove all those things, he's able to make you into clay. And when you become the clay, that's where the fun part begins. Because now you're being molded. Now you're being transformed. Now you're being transformed into the shape that you have to be. The shape that you were created to be, really. The one that you were called to be. He already had you in mind. He already had you in mind when you were in your mother's womb. He already knew exactly what you were going to be. For example, I was called to be a bowl. My husband was called to be a vase. You were called to be a cup. You guys already had an assignment on your life the moment you were in your mother's womb. And, that's what you were supposed to look like. But you didn't end up looking that way because of stuff that was in your family, or just stuff that you dealt with throughout life that caused you to be broken and caused you to have cracks and caused you to lose the shine. Now you look old and dusty. So there's reasons for you to, why you look the way you look, why you act the way you act. For example, we get this example all the time because as women, we are viewed as something pure, and something vulnerable, and something that is easily broken. And when we see a woman that is dressed inappropriately, and you can tell she doesn't love herself, you can tell right away. You can see that right away off of someone. And I know a lot of people say, don't judge a book by its cover. That's not accurate. Because when you look at someone, everything that they're dealing with on the inside, it's on the outside. You can see that right off the bat. For example, this book is self-explanatory on what it's going to deal with. It's dealing with removing the weight during the wait. It even has a caterpillar, and then it has a butterfly. So right off the bat, you know exactly what this book is going to be about. It tells you in the title, and you see it right there with a beautiful picture. Then, as you start turning the book over, you start to see even more things about the book. You start to see what it's about, all these things that's going on, who wrote the book, why she wrote the book, so on and so forth. It's the same exact thing with someone. If I saw you right now standing in front of me and you were dressed in a way that made me question, like, where are you at in life? And then as you continue talking, as you continue speaking, I can tell that you make snarky remarks. I can tell that you are very confrontational. I can tell that you make a lot of jokes about something to hide what you're really feeling. Like, when as you present yourself like that, you can see what someone is dealing with. You can tell with what someone is dealing with. And I've seen this many times. And then when you start talking to the woman on a personal level and you start to relate with them and they start breaking down where they come from, what they've dealt with, you see it because it makes sense. Everything that that person mentions reflects on their physical appearance. For example, for me, when people come up to me, they automatically assume that they used to assume that I was very mean, or that I had an attitude, or that I was just not approachable, or that I, seemed like if I said something, if they said something, I would snap at them, or I just looked very unapproachable. And that was the truth. I certainly was unapproachable because I didn't want to be approached. I didn't want you to talk. I didn't want you guys to talk to me. I didn't want nobody to be in my space. I didn't want anybody to try and be all friends with me. I didn't want that. And someone is going to feel that right away. And you're not going to have friends. You're not going to have anybody around you because you pushed everyone away. So, what happens when you have Christ in your life and you still are acting that way? What happens when you have Christ in your life and you're still acting snotty? What happens when you have Christ in your life and you're still acting petty? And you're still angry and you're still dealing with all these things, even though God has been trying to deal with you for years? You block your own blessings and you block your own process when you do that. If you know Christ and you've been walking with Christ for years and you're still dealing with this kind of stuff, you need to examine yourself, and you need to look at yourself and really look at what you're doing, because you're allowing these cycles to grow. You're allowing these things to continuing being and function. And if these things are continuing being and function, you're going to destroy yourself, and you're going to destroy the vase that you were called to be. You're going to destroy it. You're going to crack it by yourself. You're going to throw yourself off of the shelf that God is trying to place you in, and you're going to screw it all up because this is a decision that you are making. Christ will always give you a choice. God will never make you feel like you have no choice. So this is your choice. Are you going to allow yourself to be on that vase and for you to shine bright and be all sparkly and beautiful? Or are you going to become dusty up there and, just crack yourself, do whatever you're going to do to yourself because you want to keep hurting yourself. You want to keep doing these things to yourself because you're still angry, because you still haven't forgiven, because you still haven't let go of your past, because this is the stuff that you still want to deal with and you still want to be on that cycle. It's like being on a bicycle. You're riding this bicycle. There's big old stop signs. There's big old light bulbs, that go on, red, green, yellow. You know what I'm saying? You have these things and you don't care about these lights. You don't care about these stop signs. You just want to keep going straight forward, and you're just going and going and going, and you're not stopping. At some point, you're going to get ran over, because at some point, somebody's not going to be paying attention and they're going to run you over because you just wanted to keep moving like that. You wanted to keep functioning that way. But now the problem is that when you get ran over, you can become angry with God, because now it's his fault that you haven't dealt with your problem. And I've seen this a lot, actually. And sometimes I do get frustrated. I'm going to be very transparent with you guys. I get very frustrated when I see people blaming God for something that God had nothing to do with. But God has taught me to be compassionate in that area. And I am coming to you. If you are still dealing with things that God has already told you that he is going to remove, that he wants to remove, please let him deal with it. Let him take care of you. Let him extract all those things that he needs to extract so that you may be fully functional in the area that you need to fully function in. Because if you allow him to do these things, then you can receive everything that you want to receive. It's like, for example, if you are in a cycle of perversion If you're constantly saying, you know what I'm saying, like, I'm just going to wait for my boo thing to come in and we're going to get married, and then that's when I'm going to go ahead and, have sex or whatever. But somehow you constantly end up in a new relationship every 2 months, and you constantly having sex with that new person every 2 months, there's a problem there. Because you're still functioning in the cycle of perversion. You're still, functioning in that cycle. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're not really letting it go. So it's hard for God to have you fully function in your gift when you're still dealing with that. Because now, if God allows you to fully function in your gift and you go forth, now you're transferring your situation to other people, because other people are watching you and they are observant and they have discernment. And now they're watching you function in that way. So now they're going to think it's okay to function in that way. So you see how that's a problem? It's a problem because we are seeds. And we're going to sprout and we're going to grow and we're going to go forth and do our thing. But if you are a weed, you're going to infest all these other gardens. They're supposed to be, roses, all these beautiful flowers. You're going to infiltrate them, and they're also going to become weeds. We can't allow that to happen, especially for us that have a responsibility. We cannot allow that to happen. It's not okay to function in that way. So, going back, understand that when God is trying to mold you and he has you on his wheel, it's not to make you feel like you're going to be on that wheel for forever. It's been like 10 years, Lord. Like, I feel like I've been on this wheel for 10 years. You have to ask yourself, why have I been on this wheel for 10 years? Have I been doing exactly what God is telling me to do? Have I stopped doing things that he told me to stop doing? Have I fully submitted my life to Christ? Have I fully submitted every area of my life to God? My finances, my schooling, my everything to God? Have I done these things? Have I submitted my husband? Have I submitted my family? Have I submitted all these things to God? And if you are, then sometimes you just have to wait. Because he could be transforming you into the biggest vase you've ever seen. And when it's time to polish you and it's time to paint you and it's time to sit you up there, you're the biggest vase in front of all those tiny little vases. You see what I'm saying? So you have to also understand that even within the process, it's okay. It's okay that you're waiting. Because when the time comes and you're the biggest vase in the place, you have to function like the biggest vase in the place. You have to stand like the biggest vase in the place. You have to walk like the biggest vase in the place. Ooh, that was a lot of ace. But yeah, so you have to stand. You have to function. You have to walk. You have to talk. You have to do everything that the big vase is called to do. So it's okay to wait, because if you're that big vase, you got to be ready to be that big vase and function like the big vase. So, wow, that was a really nice little thing you did there, Holy Spirit. Because I certainly did not know what we were going to talk about today. But as soon as I sat here, the Lord said brokenness and cycles. So, I want to go back a little bit to brokenness. Understand that brokenness can camouflage itself as many other things. I gave you guys one example. Someone that likes to crack up jokes all the time, but is honestly dying inside. That's someone that's broken, and is dealing with things internally and is not able to express them. So they find ways to cope, and their way of coping is through jokes. Another way to see somebody that's dealing with brokenness is someone that smokes a lot. Someone that uses substances to distract themselves from what's really going on in life, because they don't want to think, they don't want to deal, they don't want to do anything, they don't want to talk about anything, they don't want to talk about how they feel, they don't want to talk about who hurt them, they don't want to talk about none of that. They want to distract themselves, and they use it as an excuse, and they think and they make it okay. And they constantly, then another way is someone that's in denial. Someone that is constantly in denial. That if you come to them and you tell them, hey, you have lung cancer, so you need to stop smoking. No, I don't have lung cancer. But I just, I specialize in this area. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what you got. So you need to stop smoking. And that person is constantly in denial, saying that it's not because of smoking that it has cancer. It's because of pollution or something like that. So that's another way to tell if somebody's broken. Another way to tell if someone is broken is someone that always lashes out in rebellion. Someone that's constantly lashing out in rebellion. You can tell they're always trying to become combative. They're always trying to start an argument. They're never okay with what you say, even though the details and everything tells you like, yo, like low-key you fooling, you know what I'm saying? Like you can end up dead, but they don't care. They still want to act in rebellion. Then that's another way to see somebody's brokenness. What's another way, Lord? And as I said, also another way that you can tell is by the way the person looks. I know a lot of times, I know. Don't judge a book by its cover, but honestly, that's a lie, because you can tell off the bat with what people are dealing with. What's another way, Lord? Bullies. If you know someone that is constantly bullying someone or constantly bullying everybody and their mama and always wants to be a part of negativity, also wants to be involved in negativity all the time. Someone that wants to be in drama, likes to talk about drama, wants to gossip, wants to do all these things. That's another person that is dealing with some brokenness. And a lot of times this kind of stuff can be dealt with in like 0.2 seconds. And some other stuff you really got to go in depth and go through some serious counseling to remove these things. Another way to tell if somebody's dealing with brokenness, if they're constantly jumping from relationship to another relationship, and not just in like intimate relationship, but even in friendships. If someone is constantly jumping with different groups and just doing this, bouncing around and just constantly like every 2 seconds, that's another way to tell somebody's broken. So if you are dealing with all these things and you really want to get rid of these habits that you have and these traits that you know you have, but you don't know how to get rid of them, then seek to your nearest counsel that you have, someone that you trust, someone that you know is going to be able to help you. If not, I got you, your girl got you, you know what I'm saying? You can message me, we can talk, we can, really deal with these things and really get into them and really dig in there and really, talk about why are you acting this way. We can deal with these things. We can pray. We can get into the word. That's another way that you can deal with these things. Honestly, is saturating yourself with God, saturating your whole environment with God. One way that I had to deal with my sailor's mouth was I had to constantly have worship on. It got to the point where I couldn't even listen to secular music. So in order to deal with my sailor's mouth, I saturated myself completely with God. I would have worship on 24/7. I would always have worship on. I removed myself from social media, and I would just saturate myself in God. I would spend time with God. I would let him do his thing. And then it got to the point where I couldn't even listen to secular music. And it even got to the point that when I heard a video or I heard someone cussing, I would cringe. It would make me very uncomfortable. That's one example of how I got rid of my sailor's mouth. Another way that I got rid of my bad habits of smoking and drinking was because I almost died. But we all, things happen, you know what I'm saying? The way I stopped drinking was because God showed me that I was becoming an alcoholic, and I hated that about my father. And when God showed me that, hi honey, I know you hate your dad and I know you feel a lot towards your dad, but I want you to look at yourself, and I want you to really reflect on what you look like right now. And I realized that I was becoming exactly the person that my dad was. And I realized that the only way that that was going to stop is if I made a decision in that moment to just stop. So then another way that I stopped smoking was because I'm going to share this story with you guys. I almost died. God told me to stop smoking. And, I was like, well, I ain't smoking. I'm going to eat an edible. There's a difference. You know what I'm saying? Still the same substance, but I try to be slick with it. And I told God, I'm like, okay, well, this is not smoking. I'm going to eat the edible. It should be fine. And as soon as I was leaving the house, God told me that if I got in the car, I was going to die. I was, going back and forth, and I was going to get in the car, and then all of a sudden this like really, really strong wind came out of nowhere. Never felt anything like it before, and I will never want to feel anything like that before unless it's for miracle signs and wonders. But that right there, I don't ever want to feel again. So I told my friend, I was like, hey, yeah, I'm not going to be able to go. I'm just going to go back to the basement in my room and lock myself there. And when I went back in the room, I started seeing demons all over the place. I started to see, all these like crazy stuff going around me. And I was like freaking out. I was having like a panic attack. Like I was freaking out. And then I realized that I had screwed up. I realized that I had made a step I wasn't supposed to. And, I started praying, and I said, Lord, forgive me. I repent. You told me not to do this, and I did it. I'm so sorry. And I had a very like sincere repentance heart, because that junk, I don't ever want to experience it again. And from there on forth, I never did it again. But he showed me how I was going to die. I was going to die in a serious car accident. It was going to be terrible. But, what's another thing that I stopped doing? Oh, and another way that God also helped me with stopping to smoke weed was because he made the smell so trifling to me. The smell of weed to me now is so disgusting. I hate that smell. I just taste it. I think it smells trifling. So what's other ways that we can deal with these things? Boom. And yeah, I think that's pretty much other ways. I think a lot of times you have to understand that when God wants you to be a pure vessel, when you're going through this molding process, he wants you to be pure. And if you are infiltrating yourself with things that can cause the pureness to be tainted, then it's going to, be a problem. And you have to be mindful of this. And you have to constantly remind yourself, like, yeah, I can't do that, chick, because if I do that, I'm going to screw myself over. So it's just having that fear of God, and knowing that, like if you do certain things, you already know there's going to be consequences. One thing about God is that he will always, always, always warn you, because you can never say that God didn't tell you not to do something. You can never say that God didn't warn you, that God never did this and that for you, because he certainly did, honey. So, yeah, I think this is where we're going to end the teaching today. Like I said, if you need some help on something and you want to talk and you want to be like, hey, sis, I need some help. I got to talk to somebody, you know what I'm saying? Don't worry about it. I got you. You just got to message me, DM me. We'll pray. We'll sit there. If you just need me to listen, I'm really good at that. So I'll just sit there and listen. If that's all you need, that's what we'll do. I don't have to say anything. I'm not going to tell you I told you so, because I will never do that. I learned that, and it does not work on people. It definitely did not work on me, and it's not going to work on anybody else. So you will not hear those words from me. I will be your homie. You know what I'm saying? Know that I am very straight to the point. I'm very transparent, and I do not hold back. If you need me to be truthful with you, don't worry. I will definitely be truthful with you. And it's really just because I'm concerned about your soul, and I really love you, and I want to make sure that you're straight. So ways you can contact me is you can go to my Instagram or Facebook. I'm Haydee Irving. Haydee is spelled Haydee. And it's pronounced Haydee as in like I and day. So Haydee Irving. Irving is IRVING. You can find me on Instagram, on Facebook. I made a page actually for She's Deeply Rooted. for both Facebook and Instagram. So you can go follow those pages and you can still contact me there, which would be easier, honestly. You can, I forgot the email too. She's deeply rooted. I'm so sorry, but you can email me personally at itheirving@gmail.com as well. And I think those are the ways that you can contact me. So the ways that you can listen and watch is you can watch on Facebook Live. I'm working on making it Instagram official too. I might just end up getting a tripod and just like putting it right in front of me and making it work. But we'll see what happens there. You can watch me on Facebook Live. You can watch it on YouTube on Worship Radio International, because it does get after the live recording, it gets uploaded there. It also gets uploaded to SoundCloud. It gets uploaded to Spotify. It gets uploaded to podcasts, TuneIn, and all of those are Worship Radio International. That is the ways that you can listen to us, watch us, tune in, because there's other programs. So now I'm going to give the instructions for the giveaway. The way that you can get this giveaway is by either following Worship Radio International or following me on Facebook or Instagram. You just got to follow those two pages. And another thing that you can do is you can message under this video. Let's do that. Comment under this video on Facebook Live, Worship Radio International. Comment under this video. Or on my page, either Irving, doesn't matter. I'll share it on my page so that you're able to, comment. And comment, what does the wait look like to you? What does it look like to you to wait? Do you see the wait as something bad? Do you see it as good? There's no right answer, but just comment under there and I will choose someone from that and you will get this book. I'll give it to you myself personally, or I'll just ship it out to you if you're from another state, because low-key, I can't get on a plane. I've never even been on a plane. But, yeah. So, again, this is the removing the weight during the wait is by Cheryl Marie. Pretty much just tells you how to get your life together as you're waiting for your spouse to come into the picture. And, yeah, so if you want this book, I love the way it feels. I love the way it looks. It's perfect, 5 chapters, you know what I'm saying? You can read this junk in like 2 minutes. Not really, but still. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing who's going to win this book. I thank you guys so much for watching today. So, still debating if I'm going to give both away, but we're going to see what the Lord does. So, I thank you guys so much for watching. This was She's Deeply Rooted. My name is Haydee Irving, and I will see you guys next week, Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Thank you guys so much. I love you guys. Bye.
Hey, this is DeAndre Ford, and you're listening to Worship.